Hey, good evening once again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of, well, I don't really know what the episode's called. We just get here and hang out. But as always, we run across some pretty sharp folks, and one of those is from Gridiron Football, and it's Jace LeJeune. Jace, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much, Doug. I appreciate the kind words. I'm not sure about sharp, but I guess I'll take it. I guess I'll take whatever
I
I can
gotta be able
get.
to. We got to be able to keep our booking with the Gridiron Football Bowl game coverage. So I have to schmooze the bosses a little bit. You
Yes,
guys,
absolutely.
you guys don't stop on that. You're year round. Tell us a little bit about the Gridiron Football Bowl game, All American Bowl, and what a season looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And Doug, we really appreciate really your coverage. You and 446 coverage of the bowl game is really top notch. I mean, obviously the commentary is second to none. I would say first of all, but really the production of it is really great, and we really appreciate what all y'all do to help us really elevate this bowl game. And yeah, and you're right, Doug. It really takes like people would think, oh, you just put a bowl game together and that's about it. Well, it is not really the case. I mean, we're pretty much right on the next bowl game. So you see how we put everything in late December. The bowl
Yep,
game's right there. We actually in the process for the next year. Pretty
for
much, we have maybe
25.
a week. We maybe have a week off, maybe,
Wow.
and then we get right into the next year for the bowl game. Obviously, we recap. We post articles about the game itself and repost the stream which y'all produce and all the other aspects of it. We send the game footage over to college coaches, and that way they can take a look at it. All the practice footage that y'all shot and we shot, we send that over to college coaches as well. So we really put that to bed, and then we get started really evaluating and looking at the bowl game for the following year. And we pull in a lot of camps in the spring, and that's how we look at players and recruit for the bowl game based on pulling on a lot of these camps. So yeah, the process really begins. I mean, pretty much immediately right after the bowl game.
Look, the work that you and Andy and Marcus and everybody does is tremendous. So we're going to interrupt with some comments as we get them in. We know we like to do that, and I don't know how you do because I think you take care of most everything. But Gridiron Football commented on there, go Jace, and then Rougarou Sports Media says Big Jace. So got a lot of fans down there, and I'm glad that they're finding their way over to 446 Sports.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are obviously really great guys. I mean, we talked about, Andy Bryson. I mean, he's the whole reason why I'm here, with Gridiron Football. And I really appreciate for him having me on. And I haven't regret it ever since. And it's been really fun, great experience working with Andy, working with a guy I've grown up watching, Marcus Randall, the
Right.
Bluegrass Miracle. So it's pretty surreal to get to work with guys like that and just be around football 24/7. So we were always about impacting lives. I mean, that's how it is, and all football. We're all football all the time, but really, our mission is to really help really athletes say, hey, there's another way. Like like we pride ourselves on sending guys to the next level to play college football. But at the same time, we want them to graduate high school. We want them to say, hey, there's outlets out there, not just college football, but
Right.
sports is a way for you to keep your nose in the books, graduate, and then find yourself something after that can set you up in life later on.
Well, you guys and Andy, of course, have always led the way. When we talk about this, we talk to it a lot, and he posted on there that was him that's running that. I knew that it was him. He'd been watching along with us. So a big shout out to Andy Bryson there, just on the road probably more than anybody else is out there, and so a big shout out to him. But one of the things that's real important about all of this, about your bowl game that you guys do, is you do that 7-on-7 that's there, and
Mhm.
that's not a football game. That's not there. You get some athletes and some mentors pouring into these lives. You get 7 of them for 7 minutes, and I don't know if anybody's going to ever top Gabe Northern and what he did last year.
No.
Evilly, right?
No, you're exactly right. I think Gabe Northern is going to be the headliner every single year from now on. But that's why you love him. I mean, because Gabe doesn't really sugarcoat anything. He tells it like it is. So you really like that. But it's so cool because these athletes, I mean, that's kind of the whole mission of the bowl game, right? Is to really change these young men's lives. And what better way to like, really have an insight on how young athletes and how their lives were changed than to hear it from guys who've experienced it firsthand themselves. So it's really cool because you get all kinds of different people that really talk about their experiences. Like 2 years ago, we had the game in Orange Beach
Right.
for the bowl game, and Corey Webster was there talking about his experience going from LSU and going to the NFL and playing for the Giants. But you get that perspective, but at the same time, you get perspective from somebody like Coach PJ Sprunk,
Right. Yes.
who went to Division III level, played at John Kerr's, went to Division III, and kind of worked his way to being a coach. So you have from all kinds of different angles of how these men are successful in life and how football has really helped them be successful. And a lot of times they what they do now is they give back and they coach or they're teaching or in any other aspect. But football has really helped them not only be successful in their lives, but actually reach back and help the next generation of athletes from that point on.
Well, it's an awesome thing, and we'll talk a lot more about that during the season. I think you're going to join us beginning, the first week of football season. We're going to do the Pelican Sports Report on Saturday mornings, and we'll spend some time with a lot of the coaches and get some insight from games that you're at. Jordan Taylor with Under the Lights is going to join
Sure.
us, and we hope to have a couple other guys. But they'll talk football. It's not just a Central Louisiana thing for our listeners and followers, but it's going to be a statewide report on what's going on in the North and the South as well. So, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm very excited, and I appreciate you for even considering me because there's a lot of knowledgeable people out there that cover the sport of football all around the state. So I'm very grateful and fortunate to join that show with you, Doug. And it's gonna be really exciting just to follow the high school season throughout the year. I mean, I'll be covering I'll be announcing a lot of games this year for Episcopal. So you'll get a lot of insight from the Knights, but I'll also keep my eye out what's going on in South Louisiana and Baton Rouge and Lafayette and New Orleans. So definitely have my eyes and ears on all what's going on. So I'll be more than happy to give you updates and talk weekly about how football is going on in the state of Louisiana. So I'm really excited about it.
Well, one of the good things that we'll get out of there are updates on offers and commitments that are
Yeah.
made to the Gridiron Football Bowl game. And all over the social media today was one right here in our backyard
Yeah.
over at Pineville. And Jacob Miranda, tell us a little bit about. He's getting a lot of attention these last few weeks.
Yeah, he has, and Jacob went to our last league camp. And I told you from an earlier question that you asked about, Doug, was about how the process is in recruiting a lot of these athletes. Well, the first things first is the players that have either been to a previous camp that are seniors upcoming and they were sophomores and juniors when going to our camp last couple of years, or it's guys that come up and they ball out at the camp, and that's what happened. Jacob signed up for camp in down in Eunice, and I've heard great things about him before that, and then just his performance just solidified what he was able to do. But what a great young man! I mean, getting a
Right.
chance to really talk with him. I mean, just yes sir, no sir. Very polite young man, but you look at him, he looks like a college football player now. I mean, 6'1", 190 pounds, runs well, physical. He was locking down pretty much every receiver he was going up against. And we had some talented receivers at that camp, including a couple that got invited to the bowl game as well. But he's just really good with his hands, very physical. And what I love most is that he was out there. We had a couple middle school defensive backs out there. He was
Right.
showing them the ropes and giving them some pointers. So that just really spoke more than, I mean, like actions speak louder than words. And I spoke a lot of words to me about what kind of, not only what kind of player he is, what kind of person that he is. And if you get a chance, I just wrote an article about him as well. You go on our website, gridironfootballusa.com. You get a chance to read more about him. But what a great young man. I know his mother's a professor as well at Northwestern State. So I can kind of see the educator in him. And he just loves studying film and just being a student of the game. And I can tell with his bloodlines there about being a student and being very studious. He gets that from his parents. So I'm excited. He already told me he's already signed up. He's ready to roll. So he's actually
That's
one of the
great.
first early commitments, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Jacob come down and show off his talents in the bowl game this year.
And it'll be back in Baton Rouge this year, where it's at over at Memorial Stadium, and we look forward to being out there all week long for that. Media night is probably the fastest 3 hours you'll ever find of interviews that we have. But we'll talk more about the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl as we get into the weeks ahead. All of the excitement is on the work that LSU is doing in the offseason. And I know that you cover the Tigers as well. And this is morphing into high school, college. We do all of it here now on the Pelican Sports Report. Wow is all you can say. It seems like every day there's a boom from Dandy Dawn, a hold that Tiger, whatever you want.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it's busy, and we're getting to that time of the year where it's like, okay, I'm not going to have like a slow day. Let's just say, I believe LSU. I think they report back to fall camp. I believe it's next Thursday. I believe that's
Right.
when they're reporting back. So we're going to be really excited, covering a lot what's going on during fall camp. But this is year 3 for Brian Kelly, and if you look back at, not even wrote an article about this recently, but you look back at some of his other stops, whether it's been Cincinnati, Notre Dame, that's where he takes that big jump in year 3. So we'll see. I mean, he's been talking about that this year's group is the deepest he's had since he's been at LSU, the most accountable he's had since he's been at LSU. I know there's a lot of question marks about the defense, and Garrett Nussmeier kind of stepping in that role, led by Jaden Daniels. But I mean, there's still a lot of talent in that offense, and when Garrett's played, he's looked really good. And Blake Baker's a bright defensive mind. He's got some really good players like Harold Perkins to play with. So LSU can be a sneaky team this year, and with the expanded playoff, hey, you can slip up maybe 2 or 3 times and still find a way to get in. So it's going to be really interesting covering this year in college football.
Is there a year that you remember the number one quarterback, number one running back, all of the number one recruits, and you get those stars out the window? Don't get me. You look at Jacob Hester, and I guess what was he, a 2 or a 3 star? There's not many better than he wound up in there. So
Sure.
stars don't matter, but they do matter. So have you seen a class like that in a while?
Not how it's been lined up. Usually, we've had some really good. LSU's had some really good years with when Leonard Fournette would sign with LSU, and they had a pretty top nice recruiting class. But when you're talking about the number one quarterback in Bryce Underwood, and I've just heard great things now on him as a player and just seeing his film, and he's the real deal, by the way, as a quarterback, but as a human being. I mean, it's kind of rare in this day in NIL when you're like the number one player in the country and have all these other offers thrown at you, and he stayed committed to LSU this entire time. So that's really hard to do. Harlan Berry, as well, the number one running back in the country. You mark him down, and I think
LSU is. I mean, Louisiana's loaded at running back this year.
Yeah.
So you talk about Berry that's there, and Alexander's own JT Lindsey is committed there too. There's some folks, some dudes that are making their way down to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, this year at the running back position, as far as since I've been covering it. Now, I've been covering Louisiana high school football going back to 2016. So, yeah, I mean, there's some really good running back class, but I think this is the best overall running back class that I remember seeing, just from top to bottom. Like you mentioned, JT Lindsey, you got James Simon up in Calvary Baptist. I mean, you have the number one running back in the country right now, Harlan Berry.
Young man out of Bishop Gorman there in Las Vegas, whose name escapes me right now, but it won't for years to come. But that was a big one that signed.
Yeah, that was. You wish you have gotten Jabari Antoine from Westgate that same day, but that's still a really good pickup for LSU. You just look at him; he's about 6'6". 200 pounds, and he's a track guy. So that should kind of tell you a lot about him. And he's compared himself to Randy Moss, and hey, Randy Moss was about that, right? So
that's correct.
Big, tall, lanky, can run. I mean, you got a guy like that, and you're comparing yourself to Randy Moss.
But don't you want a dude with a little swagger like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's just like going to LSU, right? I mean,
That's right.
that's just something about when you go to LSU, you just have that just confident swagger around, especially if you're a wide receiver. I mean, you look
Right.
at it and see all these receivers do great things and really brag about themselves, and you've seen Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson doing the gritty and all of that. That's what you think about at LSU. That swagger, that confidence, and that's what you want. And that's never going to be an issue. I can tell you that. I mean, wide receivers, recruiting wide receivers. I know that right now, the Corey Moore, he's not committed to Oregon. Everybody was kind of worrying about that. Well, I mean, trust me, LSU's got options. They
That's
got a
right.
pretty good one. They got in the car from the car as well. Teron Francis. So you get the kid from Bishop Gorman as well. I mean, it's you got some two good receivers already
You
on your
talk
first
about
class.
swagger. It makes its way over to NCAA football game there, and they let the band play neck in that game. So that's LSU in a
Oh
nutshell,
yeah.
my friend.
Oh, it is. It is. And that's pretty cool. And that's going to even help recruiting even more. When you
That's
got the
right.
college football 25 video game out, you get neck playing. A lot of people, I mean, a lot of players are playing LSU. I mean, we had our media day, and we all always ask the question these high school athletes about the video game. We try to be very fun with them, and their response is like. So I asked them like, what team do you want to when you first get the game, what team you want to play with first? And they said LSU. Majority of everybody saying it's
See,
LSU. So hey, I mean that's good, really good recruiting pitch for LSU.
one last question for you too, and it reverts back to the bowl game now.
Yeah,
Last year there were a lot of players. We had two international players. They were up in Canada, where they came from, all over the South, all over the place. What's the furthest away that you guys are talking to right now?
yeah. I mean, we're actually going back to that area. We're actually talking to Canada. And we're talking to Alaska. We're going to try to stretch it as far as we really can. And we've had it was really good about our elite camps this year. Is that we've actually expanded our elite camps this year.
Okay.
So again, I mean, as far as like recruiting for the bowl game, so we put on the camp in Gulf Breeze, Florida, and that was a pretty good success. At about 50 players, and there's a quarterback over there that we're offering to the bowl game from that school in Gulf Breeze, Florida. That looked really good at the
Okay.
camp, and then we went to Palestine, Texas, as well, Westwood High School, for a camp, and there's been some guys, especially from Lufkin, Texas, and a couple guys that really stood out at that camp from Palestine, Texas.
That's a
So
long way.
yeah, it's a long way. It was a very interesting trip to go over there, but that was the home of our Gridiron Football Player of the Year last year, and
That's
Caden
right.
Bryant.
That's right.
So we decided to go over there and show him some love, and it's pretty rare when you get a ninth grader win that award. I
Yep.
mean, over some really great players, and he's already getting Power Five offers right now, going to his sophomore year. So
Look, that's
yeah,
crazy.
he's going to be really good. And talking to his coach, he says he's even better in basketball, which is really hard to believe about that. So after getting Power Five offers, so we decided to reward them and give him the trophy, the certificate for being Player of the Year, and his Letterman jacket patch, and all that while we were over there. Just kind of celebrate that. So we expand our camps, and hopefully we continue to expand them, and that way we can go out and actively recruit a lot more players from around different states. But last year we took a really big step, as you can see. We got
Right.
two players from Canada and guys from Texas, Florida, Alabama, Missouri. So we're really excited about continuing to branch out and get even more players.
And Escambia, Florida, as
Escambia,
always.
Florida. Yep, Escambia,
as
Florida.
always.
Yep,
Well,
Coach Ben. Yep.
we've upped our game a little bit too. We'll have a couple of cameras down on the field this year. We'll have our replay working in full. Might even sneak the drone in. I don't know about that yet,
That
but
was pretty cool.
our coverage is. I mean, we got to keep up with what you and Andy and Marcus are doing. And somewhere Marcus said that his recruiting class was a little bit better. So I don't know,
Oh,
but
right now, Doug, it's been really hot and heavy with the back and forth between Andy and Marcus about what team is going to be better. Like it seems like Andy is kind of like recruiting his guys. I was like, he's pitching those guys. You're going to be joining my team. And Marcus is kind of doing the same thing. Like, Marcus doesn't want to lose to Andy 2 years in a row. So he's really been like actively trying to recruit these guys and making sure that they don't lose 2 years in a row.
Can we bring back the rock, paper, scissors for the coin toss this year? I think that went over great. I think we ought to do that again.
That did. And that was a couple years ago, right?
Yep, sure was.
So
it was a year before. It was a year before. It was down at Southeastern is where it was. It was a year before there. But one last comment from Rougarou Sports Media said, and this is anybody that was at that game last year can relate to this comment that's on there. Mm-hmm. Said they can't wait for Jace to lose his voice again at the bowl game.
I appreciate Grant. Grant's doing a great job of covering high school football in Louisiana. He's doing a really good thing. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much, I think I lost my voice before the game even started.
You did. You absolutely did. But it has been a long week too. There was a lot going on. And I mean, you guys didn't rest a bit.
No, I mean, one thing I tell a lot of people that get a chance to work the bowl game, and I say this all the time, when you work it, you wish you can't wait until it's over, right? But like when it's over, you're like, man, that was fun. I wish we can go back and do that again. But just preparing and seeing these guys practice and seeing them work really hard during the week. The game is just watching the game and seeing it from like the press box, just seeing that atmosphere. It was all worth it, like
atmosphere. Indeed, it certainly is.
It was, and we had a band there this year. Liberty really put on the show, as the band this past year, and I think this year we're going to add a couple more bands, try to grow it even more. So we're really excited about that, and that's the whole point, is trying to give these kids that college-like atmosphere, what to expect. As you can imagine, when I was doing the PA, I said, all right, Team West, get ready. It's third down and getting the crowd involved in that way, because that's what they're going to be seeing in college when you go on the road and you're playing a loud environments. That's what you try to mimic and try to do. And a lot of players, they don't get a chance to play in a stadium that big, Memorial Stadium. It's a really big high school stadium, and a lot of legends played in there. I mean, Ward Dunn, Billy Cannon, a lot of
Catholic plays their home games there, right?
Yep. Correct. Catholic plays their home games over there, so
and they're not terrible.
No, they're okay.
That's right. Well, Jace, it started a few weeks ago. The prep for it, it'll all wrap up late in December, mid-December we'll name the state champions, and then the Gridiron football game as well from there. But they can follow you along. Tell them where to find you during the season.
Yes, they can find us on our website, Gridiron Football. USA.com. It's pretty easy to follow us on social media. It's Gridiron Football. There's only so many letters that they would accept, so it's football with one L. And then you want to follow my personal one. It's just my name, pretty simple, at Jace LeJeune. So that's pretty simple. But you can find us our website, GridironFootballUSA.com.
Folks that haven't seen it, go by and check it out. We're going to talk to Jace throughout the season. Jace, I appreciate you taking this time on it's rainy up here on this rainy Monday evening. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you down the road.
Sounds good. Looking forward to catching up with you throughout the season, and we'll see you down the road.
All right, brother, you got it. See you.